a lot of times, and you've probably seen this many a time. You go to the website, especially a coaching website, looks professional. You go to the about page, and then there's all the qualifications and all the, it looks like a resume. It looks like a CV. An interesting thing about this is that just because a coach looks polished and have a good website doesn't mean that they know what they're doing messaging wise, right? And also, there's a lot of conditions that we have to consider in order to decide whether we want to put all this information about our previous qualifications and all that or not. Because the biggest difference between, let's say, being in employment and even being, being a consultant to a corporate world, it's kind of, you have to prove that you're the best for the job, right? So you're going to put all your qualifications, all your past experience, all that for the decision maker to hire you to choose from the other candidates. It's a very different decision making to hire somebody for a company or for something than for a person to hire a coach to be coached. We engage with the coach. Not that even engaged, but the way we get into somebody on a personal level emotionally is so different. There's resonance. I'm connected. I'm resonating with this person. I feel like this person is feeling me with, expansion, and I want to work with this person. That's how we feel as somebody who is looking to hire a coach to enter your program, even to get your online course, right? So we're in this industry where we're selling, in a way, access to us and our genius. We may not even realize what this genius is, but it's up to the person to feel this. And therefore, when they come to our about page, it's not about us and our qualifications. It is much more about us continuing to create this impression that this is for you. I am here for you. It's not about me and all the qualifications that I have, unless my qualifications are directly important for you to know that I am kind of a real deal, right? And bear with me again on this, because this has to be rooted in the logical thinking and not in your insecurities, right? I do not put my qualifications on my website. I don't care. Nobody ever asked me to produce a piece of paper proving that I'm qualified to advise on marketing. Although I have one, right? I have one, and I feel like it's like a complete waste of time and money, because getting all my degrees and have given me only that piece of paper, no practical application in what I am working, what I'm helping you with, because all that came from my personal experience working with different businesses, observing, understanding how people invest, how I invest. I'm constantly analyzing, and I never will stop. This is part of who I am, and this is why a lot of times, clients come to me, or potential clients come to me and say, this is so clear. I don't know where you get this from, but you make sense. You feel me with expansion. I'm ready to do things. I feel excited. Other coaches come in and they give me the strategy, and I just feel contracted inside because it just feels so heavy. So obviously, those all are my people. So on my about page, I don't need to prove myself in terms of my qualifications, because I'm not applying for a job. If somebody is not resonating on a personal level with me and doesn't feel somewhere on an energetic pool saying this is their authority, says, yes, this is my guide. And I'm a projector. I'm here to guide. And even if you're not a projector, it doesn't matter. You still can guide. You're still performing a certain function for this person. You might be inspiring them, igniting them, filling them with your energy and your light. Whatever it is for them, that's not even for you to decide, right? It's their business. It's how they consume and experience you and what they want from this. So your about page doesn't need to be a resume, unless this qualifications, you're a therapist, for example, and your qualifications are very important to show you professionally are qualified to do what you're doing. Maybe, if I go to a hospital, I don't want a surgeon I need to know that they're qualified to perform surgery on me. So there's or if I go to a lawyer, I need to know that they actually are qualified to give me legal advice, or maybe an accountant. This is where qualifications are important. When you are a coach who is, maybe you have a certification in some sort of method and you've had a lot of tools, think logically. Okay, so if I'm a coach, for example, I'm someone who works with unraveling people's traumas and But I'm not a therapist, but I'm a coach, and I use all sorts of esoteric methods. We're talking about energy healing, feng shui, astrology, human design, whatever it is. Maybe I'm just an intuitive. I'm actually an intuitive. I intuitively know sometimes, like my spleen, my authority. I'm a splenic projector. My authority is there. And I also have both of my Mercuries are in the gate 18, which is about correction and realignment, right? And I'm here to communicate. I sense when something is out of alignment. This is very intuitive. This can't be certified or proved by a piece of paper, right? So I would think about, okay, how can I present to you what I do in a way that you feel like, okay, this is very handy and practical and really straightforward. And she also knows, the human design, which will help me, not do things that will feel off. I can, she will give me permission to say no, right? Maybe she knows also, like, I don't personally, I don't, but maybe there's like, working with angels, like one of my clients and friend, Anita Keen, so she's using that modality. Maybe Chinese astrology. Maybe tapping. Maybe I'm just trying to think of other, there's another client of mine, Carol Brown, who practices the MAP method. Yeah, make anything possible. So these are the methods that you need to put on your about page, that this is where I'm either certified or I studied extensively. I practiced this for 10 years, because you don't have to be certified in some of those. You can just be really, really enthusiastic. I am not, and actually deliberately, I'm never going to be certified in any human design programs, simply because I do not want to do things the way somebody else does it. I prefer to learn all and then have my own intuitive interpretation, because I know that the creator of the human design system, Rao Ruhu, said exactly that. He said, I don't need to know the gates and channels. I can look at your chart and I intuitively know what's going on. That's me, right? So I can say to myself that I don't need to be the best person for the job, but you need to be connected to me. My about page needs to be about my connection to you, or in a way, what do I possess? How do I do this? So I am telling you how I can work with you through, for example, intuitively looking at your designs, sensing things, then realigning, because my senses are about what's out of alignment, right? So I can give you this, I can talk a little bit about, what's in me. You don't have to use human design to tell people, what you're good at, because it's almost another way to kind of like being insecure and not owning that you're good at. Your sense that something is out of alignment. You don't need to know what gate in your design tells that, right? Like, I'm very good at understanding human relationships. I'm not a relationship coach, but all my life I've went through so much, and it's my whole life story is about understanding relationships, in personal relationships, in kind of like love and dating, that kind of scene, in marketing, because marketing is all about relationships. How do we get involved emotionally in a product, in a person, in a service? What matters, what doesn't matter. This is the story of my life. Yes, of course I can look into human design and I'm like, oh yeah, of course I have a right angle cross of consciousness in the quarter of duality. This is about understanding relationships. But that's a different story. It's not about that. So the about page needs to be about what I can give to you, because this is what I possess. But it's not about creating like a resume style page, right? Even though it looks professional, think about it. It doesn't serve the purpose, because we are not. If you are a coach that sells consulting services to corporate world, then yes, think about who is going to hire you. There is another point. Sometimes that kind of page also can be used for, like, publicity, editors checking out your qualifications, if you're a guest contributing to maybe big publications or media. Maybe if you do a lot of podcasting, you also want to have a page. My advice to you, create a different page for that. I have a media page on my website. That's where I have a short bio, topics I can talk about, and previous, I embed like my previous appearances, so they can straight away see if I'm a good guest for them or not, the way I am, right? The energy I bring, how I speak. Maybe I'm not their person. Maybe that's not what they want. So that's fine. But it's available, it's there. So that's a separate page. I also think positioning wise, and this is another gift I have. I'm really understand this kind of whole build your shiny cover, like fake it till you make it. I'm not faking it. But in the beginning, I know, looking back in hindsight, I completely created this visibility persona that I grew into then. In a way, I set an intention. This is how I want people to perceive me. Even though it was very scary and I was very insecure and I did not feel I was all that. And this is where a lot of people don't create this big shiny cover because they don't feel like they're all that. I'm like, my husband Jim is like this. He's an excellent person, but like excellent coach, amazing deep person, great writer. And yet he's like, oh, I'm not all that. I'm not going to put that. That's not the point. You create that bigger persona, you will eventually grow into it quite quickly, actually, because it's almost like you're setting yourself a higher standard, and then you are going to see that everything else actually proves that you are at that standard. In fact, sooner or later you will feel like, oh my god, I've outgrown this. And that's what happened to me, for example, over the years. I'm looking at my previous profiles, how I set them up, the pictures, the imagery, what I said. And I thought it was I thought I was faking it, till I make it. And then, now it feels like, oh my God, I've outgrown this so much. So with the about page, with your website, the idea is that you're presenting this persona that is a bigger, better version of you, that doesn't mind all your insecurities. And that is what they see. So when they see that, it's the perception. It's when they come to your page and you have this about page that actually says, hey, I am here. The way I will work with you is through these things. I also have studied this and I have a certification in this, but this is how I'm going to use it to help you. That's the purpose of the about page, not to list your qualifications. That's really, really important. And the other part is then if you have a media page on your website, that straight away positions you. It's a credibility marker. Positions you like, whoa, this person is serious about their media appearances. There might be somebody, right? And we know that visibility is about, it really is about the impression, the position, the credibility markers that people just assume about you at a glance. This is what puts you straight away into advantageous position where people don't then compare you to everybody else. You're not there to be chosen between, shall I go for this coach or shall I go for this coach? If you want to be in that area where you compete with others in terms of what you do, that's your fault, because you're presenting yourself like this, through you're using your website to almost like look for clients like you look for a job. But it's not about that. You're not looking for a job. You're not competing with other candidates. You're a unique person with a lot of gifts, and you're there to facilitate amazing, life-changing transformations, which you will, and you already know you will. It's not about huge results or tangible results. It's actually about little shifts that will change the direction of people's lives, right? This is what we do. And it's important as early as possible to try and say to you, I know what I do. I know what I do potentially to the best person who comes to me. This is what's happening. They might have a slight, small, tiny aha moment. That aha moment just changed the direction of their life. It's actually exactly what happens. So your website needs to talk about the possibility of this, right? An about page and every other page. It's not about I can't promise this. You're thinking about the wrong audience. Think about the person who is the best person you could work with. What is possible with them? That's what you put on your website. That's what you put on your about page. That is in a way what you put on your media page as well. You're going to paint that picture. It's up to them, and it's not your responsibility what results they will get with working with you, because you know what's possible if the person really, really takes action. Right? And that's not on you, that's on them. Now, I've packed so much. I want to talk about the about page, but I actually gave you like a pep talk about how to own being a coach and create your shiny cover. That is big, but very authentic, because you know what you actually do in terms of what I just described. Always think about the best possible person who would come to you and what you can achieve together when you're creating copy for your website, especially about page, homepage, and pretty much any other page. So hope it helped.